And we're live. How's it going, Rob?
Good. How you
Robert,
doing?
Bobby, whatever you want to call you. All your
Yeah.
friends call you Bobby.
Yeah. Bobby's fine.
All right. Everybody calls me Ed.
Yeah, that works.
Well, if you call me Edward, then I know I don't know you. So it's kind of a cheating way to have Edward on everything,
I was gonna say anyone who's known me since I've been in real estate, from real estate, calls me Robert because that's what's on everything. But
Right.
I go by Bobby for close friends and family.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So today's live's about what's the market doing, where's going, and then you brought up a couple questions for me to talk about with loans and other stuff. So why don't we start with what's the market doing? I mean, is there more inventory now? Same amount, less?
There's a slight increase in inventory. We have like 1.1 months of inventory currently. We are seeing trends where the price per square foot is going down by a couple dollars a square foot, but we're kind of in a stable spot right now. The market's definitely still strong. Not
Yeah,
as sorry, go ahead.
no, I cut you off. You finish.
I say not as much inventory as we have buyers right now, so it's still a competitive market.
But it's better than it was during the summer, right?
Oh
A
yeah,
little bit better.
yeah. There's big improvement. We're not seeing as many offers. $30,000 to $50,000 cash over.
Well, it's got to a point where I think a lot of people have realized I'm going to list my house for the right amount, right? I'm not just listing it at this huge amount thinking I'm going to get it. They're writing it for the right amount. And if they didn't, you're seeing these reductions, which doesn't mean that they're reducing and things are going down. They just overshot what it was really worth, and they're bringing it back to reality.
Yeah, and we can kind of see that by the trends as far as looking at like days on market, because when you start seeing, in this current market, a house that's been on the market for 40 days, that tells you right there that the seller basically didn't take the advice of the listing agent and went with their own price and overpriced it, and people these days with the internet, they're so savvy on what the market's doing. You can't fool them. If they see something that's $10,000-$15,000 over what they know the comps are, then they just, most of the time, unless they really want the house, they're not even go take a look at it.
Right. And a lot of sellers don't understand that people don't want to write an offer and offend you, right? If it's overpriced, because a lot of sellers just write me an offer and then we'll go from there. It's like they don't want to do that. They want to write the offer of what the value is and make sure that you're going to accept it. They don't want to insult you.
Yeah, and I ran into that with a transaction recently where I told my buyer, I said, hey, look, they have this thing about $14,000 over what it's going to appraise for based on recent comps, because I had an exact comp in the neighborhood. And they said, that's okay, I want the house. I'm like, okay, as long as you understand you're going to be paying that, cash above and beyond. And they were fine with it. So
appraisal came in though, right?
No, it came in under.
Really?
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What are you going to do?
Right. Yeah. But in that case, it worked out for the seller because the buyer really liked the property.
Right. Now, you brought up when you were saying that the price per square foot, we've seen that going down. And I'm going to say one thing about that, like appraisers do. You really can't go off of price per square foot when you're trying when we're trying to see what the value of the house is, because a smaller price home is going to have a higher price per square foot than a larger home, just because of how that all works. And a lot of people don't realize that a house so if your house is 2,000 square feet, when they look at comps to actually do their appraisal, they do 20% above and 20% below. And that's how they find the houses for the comps to use for the value. And that's how they come up with the value. So a lot of people want to talk about, hey, my price per square foot is this and this is up, and it's amazing how high it is. Well, it doesn't work that way.
So. Yeah, I was gonna say, if you have an average home, 1,500 square foot, 3-bed, 2-bath, then you might be able to look at other similar homes in the area based on square footage, right? But yeah, that doesn't translate when you have a 4,500 square foot house, because then you're talking it's a $2 million house, right?
Right, and because a lot of appraisers, not that we have to use them as much as we used to. If you're putting 20% down on average now, we get a waiver unless it's a jumbo or other type of product, which has been nice, right? Because it goes through so much faster. We can close that in 9 days because there's no appraisal needed, and we can, it's just, and a lot of refinances for rate and term, they're happening that way, and it's just been nice. But one thing that just changed is in January, but we're doing it now already. The conforming loan limit went up to 640 or something like that, 625 or something like that. Yeah. So we're already writing those loan amounts already. Not wait until January. So
Yeah, I can say, is January when they adjust it again?
usually they don't go up that much. Right now we're 548, 250, and it's going up to I think 6.25. And the reason I say I think that is because I'm a little tired today and I don't remember my numbers off the top of my head like I do. But which is unusual for it going up that much. That's almost $100,000, right? That's like 85,000. Usually it goes up 60 or 4. It's not usually that much. I think the last one was 491 and it went to 548.
Now, do you think they'll adjust that back down if the market softens up?
I'm sorry. I thought you're in the real estate business because the market is not softening up. Where we're gonna see house values still continue to go. I don't know if we're gonna see them at the ridiculous rate we're at right now. When you have nationwide almost 20%, San Diego was 28% this last year. I think Phoenix was 30. They can't sustain those numbers in order to be able for people to qualify and actually own those homes. If you do it year after year, it gets to a point where people just can't afford it and they move somewhere else. And then when they move somewhere else, those people can't afford their own homes and they have to move somewhere else. It's a domino effect. So I still think that values are going to continue to go up because we just haven't built enough homes. And then with that birth rate thing I talked about before, did I tell you about that? I told you about that, right?
I don't know if we discussed it on the show. Maybe go over it again.
Yeah. So basically, I've done a bust or boom program before, and then we were talking about, that we just didn't build enough. We built the same amount as we did from 1930 to 1939 as we did from 2010 to 2019. What I didn't look at is I finally looked at the birth rates, and that's why we had such a huge downturn in 2006. Is from 2002 to 2006, they're building homes for these people that are coming of age of 31, right? Thinking all these people are coming of age, we need to have population growth and all that. But if you go back 31 years, there was a thing called Roe versus Wade that came in and it was made abortion legal, right? That's the whole thing that's going on right now. And that caused the birth rates to plummet for the next 10 years. So they're building these houses from 2002 to 2006, thinking all these kids are coming of age of 31, but they aren't there. And the reason they think they're there is because we had all these ridiculous programs back then where you could buy 2 and 3 homes in a housing tract. You can't even get one home right now in a housing tract, right? I mean, there's so many people behind you. There's so many people wanting it. So you fast forward to today, if you go back 31 years, we're at like the third year of this huge birth rate expansion, and it's going to go for the next 7 to 8 years.
Yeah.
So not only have we not built enough homes, we're 5 million homes short, then we got this huge birth rate going forward. So I don't know how. Yes, there's some other things that are coming into play that this administration is doing and the Fed can do, which is hurt us with the stagflation, inflation, all that kind of stuff that's coming like 1970s. But the one thing that always goes up in value during any of that time, stagflation, inflation, or even recessions, is house values. There's only been 2 times in history where house values went down during a recession. That was the Great Recession, where it was a financial crisis, right? And we had too many homes because they overbuilt homes. And the other time was in like 90, 91, and I think we went down 2%.
So now, do you see rates going up? And if you do, when?
Yes, there already are.
So where's your average rate right now?
It's over 3, and it can be anywhere from 3.1 whatever to 3.375, right around there, where that used to be 2.7, 2.625, 2.75, 2.875, right in there. So
you see
it's not drastic, but it's still going up.
You think it's going to go up to like 4 or 5%?
I have no idea how high it's going to go. And the reason I say that is I don't know how bad the inflation is going to get.
So back in 2011 was when I got my VA loan for the home I'm currently in right now, and it was 4.1%, 4 or 4.1.
Right.
And
that's where it was close to 3 years ago, right? So average home values, average rates, we're around 4%. They've always been between a little over 3 to 4%, right? When they go up, and then the highest over the last probably 10, 20, 15 years has been 5. So
now going back to the birth rate thing, do you think that we're going to continue to see that trend? Is that what they're saying, that people are having children?
Well, this is 31 years ago. I don't know what happened 40 years ago, right? That's still within that period of time. So the question is, I should say 25 years ago, not the other way. It's earlier. I don't know. I have to look at them, but I know we're going up, but we're not going to drop that much, right? We're still, so, I mean, we need 1.5 million. This is what they say, those people out there per year for just population growth. Well, we didn't do that from 2010 to 2019. We barely built, I think it was 7 million homes during that period of time. That's nothing. That's why we're so far behind.
Well, I mean, like you said, that's good for this industry, right? Because that means inventory is low. That means there's still going to be demand.
There's going to be demand, for houses. I just wanted to get back to a normal appreciation, right? 5%, 4%. That would be great. Then everybody can still afford, get their own house. And that's what we talked on the radio about SB 9 and SB 10, how SB 9, you can take your house and turn it into a duplex, right? Everywhere in town, right? Anywhere.
Yeah.
So you're going to, and that's going to help out with, they said 700,000 homes in California. Well, that's great, but that's still not enough homes, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's like, okay, well, it's not really helping homes. It's just helping with another, like a unit. So now instead of owning that, you actually are renting a unit, right? And that's the thing. We still have REITs and other companies buying up real estate to have for rentals because they know they can put people in it. And if you look at the rent rates, they're not going down, they're going up. Yeah. And they haven't went down at all. I mean, what made it worse was a moratorium on evictions and all that stuff, or moratorium. I don't know what I was saying, but moratorium on it. And see, you can make mistakes and just keep going, Robert. Yeah. It's okay. See how that works? You just keep doing it. If they want to give me a hard time, they can write a letter. So,
well, so yeah, to what you were saying as far as rents go, so gosh, probably back in 2013, the average 2-bed, 2-bath rented for like $925. Average right now, it like a B plus property, you're looking about $1,650.
Yeah, but so why don't you explain the different, when you just said B plus property, what's an A, what's a A, that kind of, I don't think people understand that. I know that in commercial space, but I don't think many people know what that is when they're renting a place.
Yeah, a lot of factors go into it, but a lot of it has to do with the age of the property and the maintenance level that's been maintained. So, so some of the newest properties in town, you have the one that's right across the street from Kaiser. That's brand spanking new. But before that, that was the Bellagio. And so that was the A plus property. It's still a really nice property. It's probably, A minus. It's gated. The property I managed was like a B plus property. It was gated, but it was 30 years old. Had a lot of repairs done to it. And then you get into your C properties, which would be, something like the subsidized housing and things like that.
And you're talking about like apartment buildings, right? Or
correct. Yeah. Apartment communities. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What else were we going to talk? Was there anything else you want to go on that line? Because I could be all day on this, but I'm sure there's other stuff we can talk about. So.
Well, the biggest question I get all the time is, what are my basic qualifications for applying for a loan? Because we have a lot of first-time home buyers, like we always talk about.
Right.
So it might be best just to clarify that, and then all the people that watch this on Facebook have a better understanding.
Right. All right. So first, you don't need 20% down. Let's just get that off, right? Because that's what most people think. I need 20% out. You do not. 2 programs for 100% financing is the VA. Got to be a vet, but the VA is up to 1.5 million. I've actually seen it up higher than that, but I know there's restrictions on that once you go higher than that. And the other one is USDA, which is more rural, but that's like Empire. Parts of Oakdale, parts of old part of Riverbanks in it, all of Tuolumne counties in it. So you can buy 100% financing. It's just real strict on your debt to income ratio. Then debt to income ratio means for every dollar you bring in, how many cents of that dollar goes towards the mortgage and how many cents of that dollars goes towards your other debt and the mortgage. And those ratios, and they're like a 31-41, I think is really strict. So you can't get around that. But so that's the programs, right? You have 3% down, first time homebuyer conventional, 3.5 FHA. I don't do the CalHFA, those programs. And the reason is because it's such a nightmare for the clients. And I think there's so many other programs you can do, but that's just my opinion. All right. So what you need to do to qualify, you need to first call me or somebody in the business, and they're going to want to run your credit. They're going to want you to tell them how much you make. And then you're going to need to know how much money you have for your down payment. That's pre-qualification, right? Yeah. Then we want to see proof of what you told us you make. So 30 days of pay stubs. We also want to see at least W-2s for the last 2 years, right? Because if you don't own a home, you don't really need to show us your tax return because you're not going to have any write-offs. You're not going to have anything to worry about. Now, if you own a home, a business, or something like that, that's different. We'll need the tax returns also.
Yeah.
And the other thing we need is the proof of the down payment you say you have. And that would be 2 months of bank statements. And then a copy of your ID. That's it. Nothing to it.
Now, does it depend on the kind of job that you've been at? Is there any kind of time frames? Like, say
you have to be working for 2 years, period, right?
Just consistently.
History. Yeah. You have to have at least. So if you're out of high school, you still need 2 years. But what a lot of people do is when their kids go to college, the parents go on the loan with them as a non-occupying co-borrower, and they use the parents' income and they use the kids' credit, right? Parents' income and the kids' credit gets them in. They own the home, and then that's how they get started. But if I've had some people recently who during COVID, they actually didn't get laid off, didn't get fired. They just quit, right? And they didn't work for a year. In order to use their current job, we have to have a 2-year history prior to the time off, right? And so basically they want a 2-year history. That doesn't mean at the same job, meaning that you could be 2 years at a job and just change job today. Once you get your first paycheck, we can use that first paycheck. Okay. So it's not, but the difference is, say you've been working for 10 years as a W-2 wage earner, right? You work for a company, they pay you and they take taxes out of your paycheck. Now you decided to open a business. You got to wait 2 years of proof of income because you opened a business. You have to prove that you can do what you just said you did.
Because you're 1099 now, right?
Correct. You own a business. You're self-employed.
So the other question I get a lot is as far as like credit repair. So actually, I just spoke to a client yesterday, and she was on the way to repairing her credit. She wants to buy another house, but when she started declining on her credit, she was at a 650. Now she has no idea where she's at. And so I told her yesterday, I want to get her in contact with you. But so what would be a good plan if she has a year to reestablish her credit?
Well, first of all, there's credit repair companies out there, and I think 90% of them, and I'm going to get hate mail, are ripoffs, right? They don't really do what they say they're going to do. They dispute everything to try to get it to fall off and go away. Well, you can do the same thing yourself by getting your own account, Experian, Equifax, one of those, and include where you can dispute things. And I think you pay, I don't know, I think it used to be like $90 or $80, and you're able to dispute the items on there yourself. But the biggest thing is, don't mess with any collections until you talk to somebody like us. And the reason is, if the collections are old, the moment you call them, it's going to get updated on your credit report to current, and that's going to take points away. So now you just took something that's 10 years old, or say 5 years old, and made it new again. So now it's taking more points away from you. So don't touch any collections until you talk to somebody in the loan that does loans. And I had one person that in my industry told these people to go ahead and touch those, and it made it worse.
Yeah.
So I tell everybody, don't touch them. Listen to somebody who's a professional. First thing you want to do is, if you have no credit cards, go get 2 or 3 secure credit cards. If you're married, you get 2, your wife gets 2. Then you add each other onto the other accounts. Now you have 4 accounts working for you to get your score up. If you're renting, we have a company that will put your rent history on your credit report. And on average, it raises your credit score by 40 points. We're not affiliated with it. It's not ours. We just found them, and we have all of our clients do it that have if you're under 720, I want you to work on your FICO score. Right.
Okay.
So 680, I don't care. I still want you to add the stuff on, because that means it's so much easier. I do stuff on TikTok, and I pull these questions out of this bucket. And one of the questions I was asked is mortgages for bad credit. And the first thing I said was, no, don't even think about doing it, because you're going to be very upset going through this process. If you have a FICO score under 620, it's going to be a nightmare. You're going to be upset with us. You're going to be upset with yourself. You're going to be frustrated because they're going to ask for everything. They're going to cross the T's, dot the I's, over ask for stuff. It's a nightmare. It's so much easier just to move your thing up 10 points, right? But I had a lady who, and that's the other thing, if you have disputes on your credit report, like you're disputing something yourself, FHA, you have to get rid of those. You have to undispute them, because when you dispute something, it takes that negative credit away from it. So, and once you undispute it, then that takes scores, that points away from what you're doing. So it's important to see somebody like us first and put a plan together for, if it's not today, it's when. If it's 60 days, 30 days, 6 months, 9 months. I've had it where it's a year. I had some kids who were working on the credit for the last year because they were in a lease option to buy, and he went up 100 points.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, did they use that same program you're talking about where they add their rental history?
They didn't do the rental at the time. We didn't have it at that time. I told them how to go get a few secure credit cards because they didn't have any. They just had a car and this for old stuff. But the thing is, credit cards is how you get your best numbers from, how you use those. So if you get so on the secure credit cards, I say you just 350, 500, that's, you give them money, they give you a card, right? Yeah. And you have to understand that these cards are going to be there forever. So you're never getting your money back. And the reason is because once you get your money, once you cancel them, you've lost all the credit for that.
So you got to leave those on your credit forever.
You should. Well, at least so you get your house. And then, if you stay there most people are going to get a house and they're going to stay there forever now because the rates are so low.
Now, I think, I know we discussed this before the show when you were talking about bringing up your credit score with the rental history. You said that takes like 3 months
it's 45 to 60 days.
40. So, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, because I think that's something that would be a huge help to a lot of renters. I know in my experience with that, I've seen a lot of people who had less than perfect credit, but their rental history was perfect. And I'm talking like 15 years.
Right.
I'd see people with a credit score of like a 620 and they get declined, but they've shown at the previous property they could pay their rent every month. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. That's golden right there.
Right. So, when I used to rent my stuff myself, I wanted those people because they would never leave.
Yeah. Right. They wouldn't go anywhere else.
And that's a negative thing, but it's a positive thing. It's like, okay, I know they're not going to, because somebody with a 740 is like, okay, they're going to be here for a short period and then realize I can buy one of my deals.
Yeah.
Anybody can buy. It's just a question of how to put that plan together to get there. Everybody should buy. We should have rentals down to like 20% of the market, but that's a lot of work to get that there. People just don't understand. You shouldn't rent. You shouldn't pay. You should be paying your mortgage, not your landlord's. So,
yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of folks that I've run into that are concerned. They're like, they say, well, if I rent, then every time something bad goes wrong, you guys come and fix it. I'm like, yeah. I mean,
get a home warranty
in the interim, but all you got to do is know a few contractors and just have an emergency fund, save that. I think
get a home warranty. That covers almost everything a home warranty does, except for the pipe from the house to the street. Covers everything inside the house. I'm telling you, I got them on my rentals. So I would say they'd call me, hey, this went down. So I'd call the home warranty company and they'd come out and I'd pay the service call. Right. And that's it. I'm done.
I have had a client that did have a not so perfect experience.
Right. That's the company.
Yeah.
You got to get the right company. The home warranty companies are huge. The right one is important. I had friends of mine who got one that sounded kind of like the one I told them, but not the service was not there. And they didn't do like they said they were going to do.
Yeah. Because what happened with these clients was they'd been in the house about a year. They had a backup. The plumber came out and cleared the line. It was a house built in the early 50s. When he cleared the line, he cracked the main sewer line. It was cast iron. And so about 6 months down the road, they keep smelling something, right? And that's when they figured out they had a sewage leak under the house. So the home warranty company said they're more than willing to fix the pipe, but they wouldn't pay for the abatement of the raw sewage under the house. And so that cost the homeowner like $2,600 for the abatement, and then they fixed the pipe. And so, yeah, he wasn't too happy.
I would have fought that one even more. Yeah. I would have went up through their chain of command on that one. Because I've had people where they got denied certain things, and then if you have a good rep, right? Like we know the reps and they'll fight for you. So you just call them up and say, "Hey, we got this problem," and then they'll actually take care of it. So
yeah. Now, I personally, before I ever got in this business, I had a home warranty on my house, and 2 months after I bought it, the water heater went out, and then I made the foolish mistake of not using the warranty. So I just went and bought a water heater, swapped it out, and then told my agent. And she's like, "Oh no, you should use your warranty." They ended up reimbursing me like 50% of what the cost of the water heater was, but they refused to reimburse me the entire amount.
Well, it's because they didn't have to do it. The other things like the hot water heater, you have to pay the updated permit stuff on it. There's stuff that you have to. Home warranty will cover. Like, say garbage disposal goes out, they'll replace the garbage disposal. You'll pay the service fee. But I had stoves that went out, and they bought me a new stove. Right? I had a refrigerator that went out. They bought me a new refrigerator, microwave, the whole thing. Right? And it's like the stuff you're putting in is newer than the stuff you took out. It's the same model, but the stuff's been here for years. So yes, on average it works perfect, but the hot water heater, ours went out. We had to update the code, the plumb. There's certain things that changed since that was been put in. We had to pay the difference. Our air conditioning heater went out on our house, our house and our cabin at the same time.
Oh man.
Our house cost $1,300 for a brand new on the roof, brand new huge air conditioner, which would be like $7,000 to $8,000.
Yeah.
And then the cabin, I had them just reimburse me and pay me the difference. I think they gave me $2,400, and I had a different company handle it up in the Tuolumne County, so I could actually go to them to add in the air. It only was a heater at the time, so I had them plumb it for the air conditioner at the cabin, and so we could put an air conditioner in. And my wife gave me so much grief because we don't need that up there. And I'm going to tell you right now, she's so happy we have it.
Yeah.
There's 1 or 2 months. It's like 80 something in your cabin, and you're like, oh, it's hot. Let's go to the lake. Now it's like, oh, it's 72.
Yeah. Hey, if you can afford the creature comforts, put them in, right?
Yeah, it wasn't that expensive. It's just planning to do it right. And that's the thing is whenever you do anything for your house, plan like you're going to sell it, right? Everything, colors, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple on the market recently that I thought, man, this house is so custom. I don't know who's going to bite at it.
Right.
It just had, I'll stop there, but yeah, just some definitely
just be careful.
Owner specific stuff. I'll say that.
But if you're going to sell it, then have it all painted a neutral color and be done with it. Yeah. Do whatever you want while you live there. But when you go to sell it, then go neutral. Then more people's going to want it because everybody's going to come in. Oh, I got to paint. Oh, I got to do this.
Yeah.
Right. Unless you got that one person that says, oh, I got to paint. Yeah.
Anyway. My first house was, the color scheme was lime green, hot pink, and then avocado. So I had a lot of work to do. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Bobby, I'm glad that you showed up today, and congratulations. If for some reason I'm not around when your baby comes out.
Oh, thanks so much, Ed. I appreciate your time.
All right. And thanks for coming on today, and we'll keep doing this. So anything else before we go?
No, that's it, man. I appreciate all the information. I hope everyone watches this video, and if they have any questions, give you a call.
All right. I hope so. All right, man. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks so much, Ed.
All right. Stay right there.